Hello and welcome to Merlin's Brick News, the weekly show on all things brick building, where we talk about set updates and announcements from all the major brands, new LEGO ideas entries, however we have none today, and general industries from time to time as well. Information is presented as always by setdb.org, the best source for set information on the internet. More than 8,000 sets are in the database. Most from LEGO, of course, but also from some of the other brands. I would say let's get started right away. This week we have most of the news from BlueBrixx, the German brand. And the first thing we can talk about is the coal mine Zollverein. That's actually a coal mine industrial complex. So it's a German Zeche Zollverein. That is a pretty large former industrial site in Essen, that's in North Rhine-Westphalia in Germany, and this coal mine has been active between 1851 and December 1986. It is an architecture and testimony to the development of heavy industry in Europe. The industrial complex, was inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List on December 14, 2001. So, what BlueBrixx has done here is they have created another architecture set. So it is from their designer Anton. Ignore the size here. BlueBrixx, I guess, has made a mistake. Actually, we could double check. Let's go to the BlueBrixx website and let's see. Yeah, it's actually a mistake on their side. So they do believe it's like 15 by 15 centimeters. I guess it's more like 40 by 50. Anyhow, it has 1,909 pieces and is from their designer Anton, and most of the architecture designs from BlueBrixx are actually from him. And yeah, I think it's quite a nice architecture set. I mean, in case you're interested or have in these kind of industrial complexes, mining complexes. I mean, this is a very well-known, again, UNESCO World Heritage one over here from Germany. But nevertheless, I'm pretty sure a lot of industrial sites, coal mining sites, look similar all over the world. So I think it can be, it is an architecture set that is applicable to multiple scenarios. Potentially it has to be adapted a little bit. Obviously, I mean, BlueBrixx has done a ton of announcements in the recent months on architecture. I've talked about those before. Personally, a coal mine is not really my cup of tea, but nevertheless. So for instance, I'm looking much more forward to Forum Romanum, the 105168, and there are a few other interesting ones as well. So they have one for Pisa announced, 105321. Anyhow, this one here, the 105634, is in addition to that line of announcements. So far, I think they have released actually only one set yet. That is the Sears Tower or Willis Tower. But a lot more architecture sets are on the horizon. So let's go on to trains. There's actually a ton. I mean, this is a big specialty, if you will, from BlueBrixx. I think there's no a brick brand out there that is doing as many trains. So let's move on. We have the 105643. That is a passenger car in turquoise. That is one that I think I think that's a passenger car also from Germany, maybe from the 60s, something like that. It's pretty old actually. Anyhow, this design has 588 pieces, is designed by Eugen, and yeah, there's a lot more to come actually. They have also a blue variant. This is then the 105642, 577 pieces, my apologies, also designed by Eugen. It is like 40 centimeters long, 10 high and 5 width, basically, so it's a 6-stud passenger car. BlueBrixx nowadays, they are migrating large parts of their portfolio also to 8-stud trains, but all of these announcements today, I think with one exception, are 6 studs. Let's move on. Then they have another version. I mean, in a nutshell, these are mostly changes in color, but this one also is a half dining car. So that's 105641, 609 pieces, similar in size, also by Eugen designed. And yeah, it's a half dining car as set, and as you can see, they have not just the seats, but in this red colored area, they also have a couple of tables and of course the kitchen itself. There's also a second variant of this one, half dining car, dark blue, dark red. So the other one was dark green and dark red. And this one here is the 105640, 605 pieces, similar in size, also designed by MOYU. As always with BlueBrixx, as these are announcements, we do not have prices yet. BlueBrixx announces pricing only when sets become available. Then they have announced the 105637. That's a tank wagon filling station. Again, for you train enthusiasts, 1,325 pieces. It is 42 by 48 centimeters and 19 centimeters in height. It's designed by Pascal. I think that's their designer doing a lot of train stuff for them. And yeah, you can attach 2 tracks to it, train tracks. You also have a truck coming with it. You have, of course, the tanks and yeah, everything you need to. So you're good to go to connect 2 tracks to it, and then you can actually remove the 2 tanks from the track piece in case you do not have the space to use it exactly the way it is. And as said, there's a tank wagon coming with it as well. Then we have the BlueBrixx cargo accessoires for trucks and wagons. We're talking about the 105638, 736 pieces, also designed by Pascal. It's 25 by 34 centimeters and 8 centimeter height. However, I guess it doesn't make much sense because it's just a bunch of of small pieces, including a forklift, etc., that you can use for cargo, to put into a set into your wagons or trucks. Nice collection, actually. Then they have announced another train. This is again a German regional train. We are talking about the 105636. That is a BR, that is German for Baureihe, which basically means kind of train, if you will, with the number 623. I guess you need to know a little bit, need to have a little bit of context on how German train systems work in order to get this one. But anyhow, it's 50 centimeters in length. They claim it's 20 centimeters in height. I don't think that this is correct. I think that's a bit too much. But anyhow, width is 11 centimeters. So this is, I guess, an 8-stud train. No, it's also 6 studs. Yeah, as I said, the height doesn't make much sense. Anyhow, you have first class, second class cabins in this one as well. It's very similar to the 105078 that you can see here right now on my monitor. I don't know. I think they are made by different companies, but I think from a brick build perspective, they are very similar. Anyhow, let's move on. Then we have one more announcement for a logistics truck with dolly and trailer. That's the 105639, 574 pieces. It's 56 centimeters in length. I just can't believe that they are able to do this with just 574 pieces. But anyhow, it's 7 centimeters in width and 8 centimeters in height, designed by Pascal as well. So as you can see here down, by the way, this is a new feature of setdb.org. That for every set, I'm now generating also a list of what I call related sets. So it is an algorithm. So sometimes there are funny mishits, but in this case, I think it worked out quite beautifully. I mean, I wrote the algorithm, but even I'm surprised from time to time what kind of connections the algorithm is making between sets. But anyhow, I think this way it worked. You can see that BlueBrixx has done a lot of these logistics trucks, and you can see that the trailer that is in this one here has also been used in a much older set, 103812. However, in this case, it is a dolly, so it is much longer than its predecessors, I would say. In general, you can see this from the numbers. BlueBrixx trucks, logistics trucks, they have done that already years ago. So 103, I guess these are mostly sets from 2020, something around that. And long story short, now you have this very long version as well. So if you have the space in your city, I think this can be a great addition as well. All right, let's move on. Then they have made available the first, so everything we have talked about so far was just announcements. Now we are talking about fresh availabilities. Again, still BlueBrixx, ton of interesting stuff this week. And so the first helmet became available this week. It is the Gladiator helmet. I think BlueBrixx has announced multiple helmets. There's also a Roman helmet and a Spartan helmet that they have announced a couple of months ago. Actually, yeah, I haven't talked about them before. They are again from Anton. Anton is also the designer that is doing the architecture sets for BlueBrixx. 444 pieces in this one here, and BlueBrixx is asking for 25 euros. That is over here in Europe, including tax, but obviously shipping comes on top. I mean, not obviously, but this is how BlueBrixx works. Anyhow, this thing is 10 centimeters by 20 by 13 centimeters, 10 by 13, my apologies, and slightly less than 20 centimeters in height. So it is a similar size than all the Lego helmets have, Lego helmet collection. So all the Star Wars helmets and Marvel, etc., etc. So I think, yeah, nice addition, but of course a completely different idea behind that, coming more out with like historically accurate helmets compared to Star Wars and science fiction and stuff that Lego is typically doing. Then we have an availability of, oh, that's interesting, DR Small Locomotive Performance Group 1. So this is a fairly famous locomotive over here in Germany. We are talking about, from BlueBrixx, a set 105221, 301 pieces. So it's quite tiny, but it is, I think, an 8-stud vehicle. So these... Actually, it's called, these are small locomotives. Actually, in Germany, it's called Kleinlokomotiven, which literally means small locomotives. And these were very light German locomotives built in the early 1930s. They have like 40 horsepower and were mostly used for shunting duties. So yeah, it's as I said, train enthusiasts over here from Central Europe know this one very well. It's very famous. A lot of those are still running around, usually in museums, of course. But yeah, BlueBrixx has now a set available, and they are asking for 18 euros roughly, which makes 6 cents a piece. Then we have an availability for a cooling trolley. Again, train car 105071, 416 pieces, designed by Pascal. They are asking for 20 euros for this one, 4.8 cents a piece. And then, and this I think is a more interesting announcement, actually this one is already not available anymore. They actually announced 4 of their Dutch housing facades that they have designed or announced in the past. They have actually, I think, announced something like 8 or so of those. And now the first 4 have become available. However, this one that I'm showing right now, the 104904, that's the facade number 1, is already unavailable. So I guess there was quite a long list of people waiting for this one. Anyhow, 1,682 pieces has this one, and BlueBrixx is asking 50 euros. That's 3.5 cents per piece, roughly. Then we have number 4. That's the 104951. This one is still available. BlueBrixx is asking for 50 euros here for this one. It has 1,649 pieces. Then we have number 7, the 104918, 1,105 pieces. They're asking for 40 euros. Maybe while at it, we can also maybe open a couple of pictures, because I think in this, in the Brick News series, I haven't talked about those before. So these, as mentioned, these are facades. I think the basic idea is maybe you could use this in your city to cover up some walls or stuff like that, or just put it on a shelf. I mean, obviously, whoever has been to Amsterdam, these house facades, or the houses in general in Amsterdam, they are so beautiful. Here you can actually see right now a picture of all the 8 facades that they have announced so far. As you can see, they are in very different sizes. So I've been in Amsterdam before a couple of times, and yeah, actually there are parts of the city where it looks like this, and it's really, really beautiful. All the houses next to the canals. And yeah, so if you're interested in that, I think this is a good alternative to get a lot of detail, to get a lot of facade in, but at the same time, don't have to spend a fortune on an entire building. Obviously, having a couple of modular buildings looking like this would be amazing, but as you can see here, they already need 1,000 pieces plus just to create the facade. So for an entire building in this size, I guess you would need something like 5,000 or 6,000 pieces. Anyhow, last but not least is the number 5. That's the 104916, 1,197 pieces. And again, they are asking for 40 euros. Then they have available a science fiction starship where BlueBrixx obviously does not have the license of a TV series. I'm pretty sure this model is based upon. I guess fans of that TV show know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyhow, they don't have a license, so that's why they call it the Space Freighter ESS Levitarus. Whatever that is supposed to mean. We are talking about the 105003, 3,751 pieces. And it's quite huge. So the length is 63 centimeters. It is 39 centimeters in width and 24 centimeters high. Designed by Pascal as well. And yeah, I think it's quite a good looking and enormous starship. So if you're interested in very large starships without having to pay a fortune, of course, also if you're a fan of the original, I think this is a set for you. BlueBrixx is asking just 150 euros, again including tax plus shipping, and that makes it 4 cents a piece. Obviously, that is quite a bargain. BlueBrixx is doing a ton of starships nowadays, so they have the Star Trek license, of course. I've talked about this before, but they have also done sets like, for instance, this one here, the 103712, the Nave Nostro, also, of course, a model from a very famous science fiction movie. So sometimes they do have licenses like for Star Trek and sometimes they do not, but they have quite a range of starships nowadays. And then we have availability of the construction side accessoires. We are talking about the 105035, 755 pieces, also by Eugen designed. And the BlueBrixx is asking for 33 euros. That's 4.5 cents a piece roughly. Again, I mean, I'm really a big fan of these sets, to be honest. I think if you have a city and, you don't want to build all the stuff yourself, I think it's quite nice to have these kits where you basically can enrich your city and, and that for an actual good price. And I think this one here will help a lot. I mean, obviously, as you can see here down below, BlueBrixx has created for construction sites a ton of machines, like milling machines, asphalt pavers, compressors. So there is like a ton of vehicles and sets that you can use if you want to build your construction site. All right, and then I have just, as always, I pick a couple of availabilities from BlueBrixx from very old sets. As I've said before in previous shows, that's, I think, a speciality that BlueBrixx usually has a strategy where stuff does not go end of life. However, it might be that it's unavailable for a very long time. So generally, they have the catalog of sets, and if they have the feeling, okay, there's still interest in these sets, and I guess the way they do this is if you go on their website, as always, I have links to their website from setdb.org. By the way, all the setdb.org sites that I'm showing you today are also linked in the podcast show notes, or for those of you who watch on YouTube, it's in the video description down below. And there I also have links to the site on BlueBrixx, and there you can register by email and to get an alert if this set gets available. And BlueBrixx has stated before that they are looking at these numbers, and if the numbers are high enough, they might make the set available again. And this is a good example. So this is a 102580. It's the Rheingold Saloon Wagon First Class. Again, very old, famous German passenger car. And it's 647 pieces and 33 euros. That makes it 5 cents a piece. So this is an old one. Another one is here, the classical Western train caboose wagon, 376 pieces. We are talking about the 102895, and it's 18 euros. And of course, BlueBrixx has actually an entire series of these Western trains and freight wagons. So, yeah. That's actually quite a beautiful wagon, I must say. It's just 376 pieces and just 18 euros. So could be a good start have a traditional Western train. And Again, a good example of BlueBrixx bringing back even very old sets. All right. With that, we are coming to Forange. There we have the camping tent, where I have my first announcement, 579 pieces. Personally, I'm not really sure what the tent is here, but anyhow, for those of you interested in this kind of setup, these kind of houses and buildings in that size especially, I mean, I've talked about these before, like small houses, less than 600 pieces, I think that is quite an appealing offer. And then we have another availability from the Burj Al Arab. I'm pretty sure I pronounced this completely wrong. Tower of the Arabs, I think is the translation. The very famous luxury hotel in Dubai, more than 300 meters in height, built between 1994 and 1999. I think it did cost around $1 billion US. And we have this set from HappyBuild, 1,336 pieces. I have availabilities both from Chinese shops as well as over here in Europe. BlueBrixx has this one listed now as well. BlueBrixx is asking for this one 70 euros. If you import it directly from China, usually around like $50 US in this ballpark. Then we have another interesting announcement from Mould King. So Mould King has worked before a lot with the designer Bertil. And actually now they have announced a new set, the 26002, 2,438 pieces, and it's a marble run. I think it's kind of a sister set to the Rainbow Stepper, the 26004 from the same designer. As always here in ZDB, you will see links both to the designer pages, Rebrickable page, Flickr, etc., but also directly to the mock entry on Rebrickable as well. So if you want to compare these and take a deeper look, please go ahead. As always, all of that is shown from zdb.org page. All right, let's move on to MOYU. There we have announcements for a new motorcycle. We are talking about the 88017, 669 pieces. I do not have prices yet, but I think it's quite a beautiful technical motorcycle. Looking forward to this one getting released and also getting an idea on the pricing. I'm actually not a good feeling yet for MOYU when it comes around prices, but let's see how this is going to be, how this will turn out. And then we have Panlos. Here I have a new announcement, or not announcement, it's actually an availability already for the 632099. It's a Merkava MK4 main battle tank. So for those of you who are tank enthusiasts, and actually Panlos, I guess, is next to Kobe, the biggest brands when it comes to these modern warfare vehicles. Obviously Panlos is doing a lot of Chinese models, but they also have, as you can see here, European or Israeli models as well, or American models. And this is the Merkava, which is in Hebrew chariot, I think. It's a series of main battle tanks for the Israel Defense Forces. The Mark IV is in development since 1999 and in production since 2004. And I think it's one of the most heaviest main battle tanks that is still in serious production. This piece here from Panlos has 1,730 pieces, and I have prices from Afrobrick in this case between 60 and $50 US, depending on where they need to ship to. And yeah, I mean, I think, as far as I can tell, the biggest difference to Kobe's is, of course, that these Panlos tanks are usually a lot bigger. So you can see this here in the piece count. Usually, I think Kobe battle tanks never go far beyond 1,000 pieces. So it is actually a lot bigger. So if Kobe tanks are too small for your taste, this might be a good option or good alternative. The same is true for ships. Here we have from Panlos, I have availabilities now for the Nimitz class aircraft carrier. Nimitz class, I mean, all 10 of them in operation by the United States Navy, is of course very famously known, I guess, when people think and talk about aircraft carriers. Yeah, they usually, have in their mind the Nimitz class. Just a few facts on the side. This thing has a displacement of more than 100,000 tons. It is 332 meters long. It has a beam of 77 meters, slightly below that, and a draft of a bit more than 11 meters. That is not waterline. That is, of course, including the landing deck. And yeah, this piece here has 1,988 pieces. And currently I have listings and prices from AfroBrick without a box that is between, again, $53 US and $65, again, depending on where they need to ship this to. So yeah, I mean, again, same thing. Panlos and Kobe are usually the biggest brands, also when it comes to battleships. So if Kobe sets are not the right ones for you, this one here might be a good alternative. Plus, I'm pretty sure Kobe has never done in Nimitz. So BlueBrixx has done one, which is actually a lot bigger. It's 6,000 pieces, not available right now. But I think these are the two options that you currently have around the Nimitz class aircraft carrier. All right, this has been the week then. As always, I hope you liked the show. For those of you who watch this on YouTube, please leave a like or a comment, or even better, subscribe to the channel. For you podcast listeners, please leave a review, comment, or like on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to the show. Thanks for listening. See you next week.